Woo! I've now had my hands on the latest and greatest Dell XPS 15 featuring the 13th generation Intel i9 processor, and it's time to give you all my report on things that I've liked and the things that I've unfortunately not liked as much. First off, let's baseline everybody and go over the specs and ordering options that I purchased. Yes, I purchased this laptop myself. The Dell XPS 15 this year isn't that much different than in years past. The 2023 model will get you a 14-core i9 13900H processor, an 8GB NVIDIA RTX 4070 graphics card, 16GB of DDR5 memory, a 512GB M.2 solid-state drive, and the base 15.6-inch FHD Plus display. That all rounds out to $2399 for the base model. You can take this and do a few OEM upgrades, leading to a version with 64GB of DDR5 memory, an 8TB solid-state drive, and a 15.6-inch 3.5K OLED display for $4729. Dang, laptops. You get motorcycles or laptops, I guess pick your poison, right? The first thing I want to point out is that I did not use the highest end configuration. I purchased the base model. I also don't know why I would ever recommend somebody to buy that highest end configuration anyway. So let's get into the things that I've liked and disliked about this newest XPS 1 month later. First things first, typing. Team, I love typing on this laptop. It's been a couple of years since I've used an XPS 15, and I forgot how much I enjoy working off these machines. I know keyboard aficionados will say Lenovo has the absolute best ones out there, but I don't think it's just about the switches or the keycaps, it's about the whole experience. We'll talk more about the construction next, but the combination of the shape of the body, the smooth and springy typing feel, and that carbon fiber topper, no kidding. That makes this probably my favorite computer to physically interact with. Moving over to the body itself, I really continue to like the overall look and the feel of the XPS. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. I really like the matte silver shell and how it contrasts with the dark carbon fiber. I mean, this laptop feels right at home around any conference room table. Look, in the real world, most laptops used for work look boring. I guess the way that I would describe this is I would describe this as elegant. And if you are going to spend this kind of money on a laptop, you do want to be able to see that on the table. Build quality though leads to my first dislike, and it's really unfortunate because I feel like I've been saying this same thing about Dell XPS 15s since I first opened one about 3 years ago. Most of this build quality is great. The shell is high quality, the screen looks robust, and I've already glowed about the typing. And you know what? I'm not even going to complain about the trackpad. Yes, I have had a wonky feeling trackpad on here, but I don't know if that's an actual wobbly trackpad or if that's just my brain. What I am going to complain about though is the hinge. I've got a creaky hinge on an otherwise really nice laptop. The problem is because it's a laptop, it's going to be opening and closing pretty often. There it is, I can hear it right now. Every time I do that, I hear the creak and it drives me nuts. I was really hoping that over time it would get better. However, that has not been the case. Yes, I could have returned it to get a new one. Dell has a pretty good return policy, and that's what you should do if you get a hinge like this, but I've got to make these videos, so I kind of have to eat this particular annoyance. Back to the things I've liked. You can still open the bottom of this laptop up and do a couple of upgrades yourself. You've got an extra M.2 slot and removable DDR5 memory. Emphasis, DDR5 memory. These slots are not backwards compatible with DDR4. Ask me how I know that. Ask me. Say, Gary, did you buy 2 separate packages not realizing they were not cross-compatible? Who's asking? Where are you, the cops? In a few moments with a few clicks, physical clicks, not like mouse clicks, you can buy some less expensive components and have an even more impressive machine without paying OEM prices. But under the hood also hides my single biggest dislike about the XPS 15. And frankly, it's probably a deal breaker right here, but we'll get to that in a second because I have some other things to say first, but just keep that in your head. The display is really nice. Dell led the charge with minimal bezels and an infinite display, and I don't think anyone has really yet matched them for their stunning looking panels. When using the laptop after only a couple of seconds of concentration, the bezels, they totally disappear from your brain, and it really feels like you're looking at a single pane of glass. I know that sounds hokey, and that sounds like marketing lingo or whatever, but it's a really cool effect, and no other laptop I've used has been able to match this. I really like all of the ports, Thunderbolt 4, SD card slot, headphone jack, all the standards you need in a busy work environment. And even though the XPS 15 no longer has a built-in USB-A or HDMI port, Dell always includes a dongle in the box to give you both back, and I will continue to praise this year after year because it would be really easy for them not to include this and charge us $40 for the ability to plug in regular accessories. cough, cough, Apple, cough, cough. Performance-wise, I'm torn. Yes, the i9 is a fantastically powerful chip. This 10nm chip has 6 performance cores and 8 efficiency cores. It integrates AI tasks, and it's got some pretty heavy video encoding and decoding chops. And in practice, it shows pretty nice benchmarks overall. Something I have noticed is they've really got a bump in using high-efficiency video codecs, but it's not $2,400 shocking either. The 4070 does carry a lot of weight for things like gaming, and honestly, this could be a nice little gaming rig that easily fits in a backpack. However, all of this is almost moot. Remember the thing that I said about 250 words ago about being a deal breaker? 3 years later, and Dell is still using a heat pipe cooling system. I do not understand this decision. Well, I am a product manager. I understand it from a component cost business money saving standpoint because re-engineering and redesigning costs money. But thermal performance is the single biggest weakness of any small light portable laptop, and not addressing that head on is really disappointing. Every year they put a bigger and more powerful Intel processor inside of this. Remember, in the beginning, we said 14-core i9. That's your only option. Hey, video editing Gary here. As I was editing this video, like 1 month later, as I was editing it, there is now an i7 option. It's still 14 core, and I haven't had a chance to test it, so I don't know how it thermally performs, but the i9 is no longer your only option. I knew the second I said it, it was gonna be a problem, so okay, back to the video. And all of that power is constrained to the same chassis and the same cooling system as i5s from a couple of years ago. I had thermal problems on older XPS 15s with 8-core i7s, and I still have thermal problems today. This is not only a performance thing, this leads to a whole host of issues around usability with the laptop, and not just bar charts go down over time because of heat. Because the laptop has such a powerful chip, the fans need to run even harder to keep it cool. That means when doing innocuous stuff like having multiple browser tabs open or running a Teams meeting, they'll kick on. I won't belabor this point to stretch out the video length, but this decision just exasperates me, and it almost wholly throws out my recommendation for the XPS 15 out the window. Because who is this laptop for? Power users or gamers? Well, no, the thermal performance can't keep up if you're using the i9 to its full capacity. If you are a power user, you should get the XPS 17. Office workers needing Microsoft Suite access? Well, then just get a Latitude or something that costs half or less the amount. Look, I really like the XPS 15, and I really like the promise of what a small, powerful, beautiful laptop can deliver. But if they are not going to upgrade the thermal system, I really wish they would also include an option for an i5 or i7 variant for less money. I mean, that would make better use of this space. So my recommendation is only buy the XPS 15 if you need form over function. If a nice looking laptop is your absolute #1 priority for a machine, absolutely go and get this because it's aesthetically, it's so awesome. But if you need function or value for your dollar, I would have you look elsewhere. But what about you? Do you have or are you considering an XPS 15? Let us know in the comments below because maybe there is absolutely something that I missed. And click here if you want to see how the XPS 15 stacks up against the latest M2 MacBook Pro 14. Click, 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 click. Thanks for watching.